It's so weird. It's because I kind of expect one person's watching.
A stalker.
Grim.
Mid-gig.
We're live.
We're live.
How's it going?
Good. How are you?
Good.
This is different. People can see our faces.
People can see our faces. It means I can. I've said this every podcast we've done so far on a live stream. It means I can start the show going and we're live, which gives me a way to start a podcast.
It does. We've never had one, have we?
No, it stops it being awkward as well.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah.
How do you feel about your face being beamed to millions?
I think. Well, I mean,
billions.
I go out of my way to try and help the world in as many ways as possible, and it's just another way of doing it.
Another selfless act from Lee. Speaking of selfless acts, Extinction Rebellion.
Absolutely selfless.
Yeah. What are your thoughts? See, they're good guys.
I'm not keen, you know. No.
What's it seemed very Lee to me, seeing those hippies dancing in the street. When I saw them with their interpretive dance shit, I thought Lee will love this. This is something he can get on board with.
Well, first of all, because if you haven't noticed this, I like a conspiracy theory.
Shut the front door.
And I think one thing I've got good at from looking at conspiracy theories a lot is being able to spot one in the making.
Okay.
And I could kind of spot one in the Greta thing from the beginning.
Yeah.
Which it kind of got fucking compounded the other day because.
How so?
Well, remember how I said I wonder who's backing her?
Yes.
So the what's the website called? Is it We Don't Have Time? I believe.
Don't know.
Is that they're a big
right.
Environmentalist?
Sounds right.
Yeah.
We do,
but she was doing her demonstration, to which he just happened to walk past her, the owner of that website,
right,
and then happened to tweet her picture,
Mm.
which kicked off this whole crazy thing.
Yeah.
Then I also said, well, I wonder where they got the fucking boat from, and I fucking love it. There's like 3 names, isn't there, for conspiracy theorists that you expect to see popping up all over the shop.
Not Billiam.
No,
okay.
It's not him. It's not Rothschild. It's fucking what's his name? And I was stalling then to try and remember the guy's name.
David Icke.
Who's the
David
guy?
Icke's the banker.
Oh, no,
He paid with the lizard money.
He's one of the good guys.
Oh, yeah.
Who owns Media Matters? George Soros.
Oh right, okay, yes.
The boat she travelled to America on was George Soros's boat, and then just before she got hold of it.
Did she not swim? She should have
No,
swam.
she didn't swim. No, she took a whole fucking crew with her, who then had to fly back on several planes.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was his boat, and the boat was sold to a German person before, like a couple of weeks beforehand. Then Greta got hold of it, and a little bit of me wonders whether. Because I'm sure Media Matters is involved with We Don't Have Time, and I think Greta has been a groomed figurehead for this thing.
Yeah.
Whether Soros has gone, well, you can't have fucking my name on this, not directly.
Yeah.
That would be ridiculous.
Yeah.
I could have a field day.
Yeah.
So yeah, I just find it odd that
there's no doubt she has been cherry picked as someone who is potentially. I mean, there is doubt over the vulnerability and the Asperger's and stuff, but it seems as though she's a really smart girl, but she's obviously quite impressionable, and her parents are apparently willing to allow her to do this.
Do you know her mum won Eurovision?
Did she?
Yeah.
No way.
Yeah.
When? Like a long time ago?
I've no idea. No idea when she won it. But it could have been last year. But yeah, no. Like there was a thing I think
she's distinctly middle class, isn't she? And this is the
upper
thing.
Middle class.
Upper middle class.
Yeah,
so this is the thing. This is the thing that we're going to bounce from thing to thing here, obviously, as is our want.
She's a nice primer into Extinction Rebellion.
I think so, because it's white liberal guilt.
Yeah.
And it's middle class people trying to basically, potentially, dictate how the working classes live and try and impinge on their basic rights and freedoms. You could make an argument for that, I think. And I think a case in point is the protests at, was it Channing Street?
Yeah.
Which is a very working class
area of London. That was the wrong move.
Yeah, they didn't think that through. It was like fucking Green Street, you know.
that was one person away, and this is the way I think all this is going to end. But even in that situation where when you think the pan isn't particularly at boiling point at the minute. Do you know what I mean? It's
no.
I wouldn't even say it's on a simmer.
No.
It's just the bubbles are getting on the bottom of the pan at the minute.
Yeah.
But that situation seemed to be one person away from going, fucking kill him.
Yeah, it seemed
like it was all it took.
It was very Joker.
Yeah,
it was
very so.
Yeah. And the weird thing is,
have we spoken about Joker?
We
haven't.
Not
on a podcast.
Not on a podcast. No.
We'll have a little chat.
We'll have a chat about that in a bit. Yeah. Yeah, definitely. There's plenty to say, especially in this society. But the weird thing is, and I don't believe in violence. I'm pretty laid back.
I'm pretty sure it's real.
But I was almost like, well, yeah, fucking kick the shit into this prick. And obviously now I was thinking, well, that's not a nice realization to have, but it's the arrogance of the disruption. You know, people trying to get to work.
I'm really glad that they did something like that quickly, because I think it could undermine the whole thing in the end. And I think if it does get undermined, I don't think it's going to hurt anything. Before I go into Roger Helm guy, which I mean,
God, yeah, we've got plenty to say on him.
Yeah. I also, when I was doing a little bit of research on him, it took me down the road of looking at the climate crisis as a whole. And I've always kind of talked with felt like this, and I think I've said it a few times on a podcast. But the more I looked into it, and I think I've done probably more than like most of you, like if you've got close friends and stuff that are tweeting about Extinction Rebellion, tweeting this, tweeting that, I've probably done more research than anyone I know. Over the last couple of weeks.
People don't do research. They just read headlines, clickbait headlines now, don't they?
Well, what I instantly realised was when he turns around and said, well, the science is settled, it's nowhere near settled. Like, absolutely nowhere near settled. What's settled is that the climate's changing. Yeah. But the reasons for it are very much up in the air.
Yeah.
Very much up in the air. And when you actually look at the factors that are contributing to it, the chances of actually being us which are causing it, to even think that is the epitome of fucking human arrogance.
Yeah.
To think that we can build stuff that can change the entire ecosystem of this planet is fucking crazy.
Yeah, it's the height of humanity's hubris.
But look,
for sure.
The other thing to think as well, and I think people don't think about this it doesn't come to mind instantly because it's kind of like a forethought in the back of your head. I think this is kind of the problem for everybody at certain points. Because I fell down a flat earth rabbit hole again, didn't I? Carl Froch.
Yeah. Oh yeah, the boxer.
Yeah.
Oh, so, Carl.
But one of the things, like for fucking putting the record straight, not a flat earther. But one thing I do find interesting is how wrong our maps are.
Okay.
You know, in the for instance, all the continents will fit into Africa. But look at it on your map. What you're brought up with looking at is completely different to what the world actually looks like. The size of Australia, for instance, Australia is huge. The globe that we see in the classroom makes us think that the world is much smaller than it is, and I think that's a problem. That breeds this and allows people to think, well, it's a small world. It's not.
No.
It's fucking huge.
Oh, yeah.
Huge.
Yeah. Well, Greta will tell you. It took her a good 4 months to swim the channel.
But I don't think people realise that
I guess
subconsciously, I think people, because we have instant communication.
That's exactly what I was about to say. Because conversely, the world is so much smaller now with our immediacy of our communication.
Yeah.
There's a definite disconnect with regards to the actual mass. I remember thinking that being in Australia.
Yeah.
You know, I flew from the east coast to the west, and it looks like, you know, tiny.
I think you're going to start rapping.
Looks like my penis. And it was a 4-hour flight, 5-hour flight, I think, from Melbourne to Perth.
Yeah.
And it, you know,
crazy,
absolutely insane.
Yeah,
absolutely insane.
But yeah, so as far as what people's perception of this is, it's really weird because people seem to really want to get on board, or certainly what I would consider, certainly like the more lefty people I know, really want to get on board with Extinction Rebellion.
Yeah,
but I don't think they know why.
I guess that's...
I don't understand how it's exploded either. So how big it's got so fast.
Well, there are a couple of things, I guess. I think their whole ethos is to manipulate social media and 24-hour news broadcasting, and it's quite clever, I suppose. They seek to be arrested.
Isn't doing great on that.
Not doing that well, but they seek to cause controversy. They want to be arrested. That's their whole purpose, isn't it? They want to be arrested, but that in itself, you know, garners publicity, and you know, they say outrageous things. In a way, they're kind of like they're taking a Trumpian,
very much so,
perspective on how to garner likes and retweets and interest. Some of the stuff your main man has been saying, Helm is...
He's a Marxist. There's no doubt in my mind.
He's an extremist, yeah. He's
also
not saying anything.
This is the thing. There's no
heft.
I watched 2.5 hours of his fucking lecture. I watched the whole thing.
Did you?
I would quite happily watch David Icke's 12-hour fucking Wembley show and probably walk out with more substance.
Yeah.
Still very little.
Yeah, just a lot of memes.
But everything's relative.
Yeah.
More.
At least it'll be fun.
Yeah.
Lizards.
But like what you said there about people getting arrested, I fucking love this because I've wrote a few quotes down that I got from old Helm.
Oh yeah, I got a few actually.
Yeah. This quote was taken from his lecture in 2018 or something like that. Towards the end of last year.
They haven't even been going yet, have they?
No. And it was when he jacked his farming, because this is the interesting thing. He got into this.
He's from money though, isn't he?
Yeah. Well, I don't see. This is the funny thing. You look for stories on Helm. There is nothing before 2017.
Really,
nothing. And the story of him was that he had an organic farm, which was 20-acre organic farm.
It was obviously loaded.
That he said went under because of extreme weather. Yeah. Now.
So he's blaming the weather.
Yeah.
So this is all very...
Yeah, it's ready. Yeah, but I don't understand.
He's got a bit pissed off because his turnips have gone to shit.
I can't find anything. If that was... Right, say if you were going in with that, yeah? That's your way into this. Then I would have examples of how it's affected me personally to tell you. All he says is, it's that went under there. So then he went to King... What's the college? King's College London, where he did a 5-year course to research, what was it? He got a degree in civil unrest
and hemp growing.
But
a degree in civil unrest.
Yeah. You could you can go and get a degree in how to protest.
Fuck off.
Yeah. But yeah, this quote is great because this came out last year before any of the demonstrations and stuff like that. So people will see on the 6 o'clock news 10-year-olds and grannies getting dragged off by the police.
I read this, yeah.
Now,
as if that is to be lauded.
But the thing is, he's hitting it. He's hitting the marks. The two old people that were glued their hands to the train, their thing. He knows what he's doing. If he is orchestrating these demonstrations, the same thing happened with the London demonstrations. You had that old guy getting arrested, didn't you? And he's right. That was what was the main headline, 6 o'clock news. It's garnering sympathy because if anyone knows what the left wing love, it's fucking sympathy.
Yeah.
They fucking absorb it. It's like the quickening for them.
He's not particularly likable. From the interviews I mean, you sent me the link to the BBC one. It's well worth a watch, actually. I can't remember what the programme was, but it was a BBC
Newsnight. Was it Newsnight?
It wasn't Newsnight, but it was. I can't remember what it was. They call it BBC hard-hitting questions, something like that. Anyway, and it was a good 20-25 minute interview.
It was a really good interview.
Yeah. And he was tetchy. You know, he looked ready for a fight.
Well, but that's what happens
when you get provocation from a journalist who's researched.
Yeah, and you
ask probing questions. Nothing.
You've no answers.
Yeah, exactly. You get defensive. But some of his quotes: "Our children will die in 10 to 20 years."
Yeah.
Right. And billions are going to die. Billions. How many are on the planet? 6 billion.
Well, this is the
7.
Well, but doesn't this hark back to the fucking great Greta speech? Doesn't it? Which said, like, people are dying because of climate change. Where on the planet right now are people dying because of climate change?
There are a lot of reasons why people are dying. You know, social inequality.
Yeah.
You know, the greed of the West, the capitalist society, perhaps. Yeah. But I don't see how the climate is killing millions or many people. You might get occasional freak tornadoes and shit.
Do you know what else I found really fucking weird about this? Because when we talk about sea levels rising, and you'll always get the odd people that come through and say, "Oh yeah, well the such and such island, such and such is now virtually underwater, and that never used to be." We never see these things. It's all like stories and quotes of things. And, oh, but this tribe had to move inland, and you think, well, I don't understand. I am not smart enough, but I do know.
No, me neither, dude. No.
That if you take the world as a vessel, if you put more water into it, I would imagine everywhere is going to rise. Like the idea of gravity holding water down to a ball as it's spinning round surely means that volume is going to be the same volume. It becomes greater if you add like sea ice to it. But I'm clearly an idiot, and there's clearly a reason for it.
But, science was never my forte. But I think, you know, there's been reports on this, and the governments generally are trying to do something. So it's not as if there's nothing in place. They've got the target of zero emissions by 2050.
Well, this is the crazy thing,
and right? they want it by 2025.
25, yeah.
But that would mean something like, I read some facts about this. That's something like 10 million gas boilers to be completely obsolete. Within the next 6 years.
Think the
cars are gone.
Yeah.
You know, one flight every 6 years for every individual. It's like, well, I'm being preached to by people from the upper middle classes and celebrities who live in a bubble, a bubble of wealth and private jets and everything else. And my only escape from this fucking rigorous hellhole prison of, you know, work a day, slog your guts out shit that is life is, you know, a holiday once a year, so fuck off. So we start impinging on the working class's rights. That's when they start rising up.
That's always the way, isn't it?
It is, and its canning was a lovely little microcosmic snapshot of what could happen, and that is quite scary. And I could see people are rejecting that. We've talked about this before. It's even simple things like when Jamie Oliver says, in his intentions may be good, but when he says, "Listen, I'm getting rid of 2-for-1 pizza deals," it's like, fuck you, Jamie. Don't tell us how to live. We work hard. If I want 2 pizzas, I'm having 2 pizzas. Fuck you. You're a multi-millionaire living in your fucking Hampshire estate. You know, so what the British people
look after your
businesses going liquidated. Yeah, when the British people, I guess any peoples, when people tell us how to live, we don't react very well. And I feel that there's a self-righteousness behind this movement. I'm not denying that there are environmental issues we need to tackle, but this is catastrophizing. It's catastrophizing, and I don't think there's any. I think there has to be a correlation between young people's. There's a million reasons for the mental health crisis, but young people's mental health is on the fritz.
Yes. Yeah.
Is this catastrophizing? You're gonna die. You'll never be able to have kids. Your kids are gonna die.
I also think the problem I've got is I'm really getting like not upset. I wouldn't say upset is the word. I worry about how much I see like young kids blaming like boomers for things now, and if you've got a situation where you have people which have like a fragile mental disposition and don't trust elders, then the only place they're gonna, if they're gonna garner information from someone, it's gonna be like your Helm guy, because he's going to put the love and embraces around. Joe,
it's a bit Manson-esque. That's what I said to you last night, didn't I?
I think Extinction Rebellion is a cult.
I wouldn't disagree. I honestly wouldn't. And you know me, I'm normally quite moderate on my views of this stuff, but I'm not a fan at all. I find I've got a lot of respect.
I find him horrible.
He gives me the jeepers. Maybe it's because I've been watching too much Mindhunter, maybe, but he does give me Manson vibes.
He ticks all the boxes.
Yeah, man. He's as the cult of personality, but it doesn't even have like a. He's not charismatic, overtly, but there's a sinister edge to him, and I'm sure he can manipulate
that. Of all
that.
people, I really liked Ike's thoughts on Extinction Rebellion.
What was Ike saying?
He thinks it's the modern equivalent of Marxism, where he said, but instead of pitting the upper class against the lower class, it's pitting the lower classes against each other. He said, so what? You're fragmenting the lower classes. He said, so it's for him and his elites. You know, his thing. He thinks this is the absolute glory days for them. Because anything that could rise up against him is getting split into so many different groups. Yeah. And he says you can see it now with sexuality. He said sexuality is getting broken apart. He said it's no longer a case of people where you get like straight men and women, and then people that are like the sort of gay community. Now the gay community is split because you have like gender neutral people, you have the gender queers, you have trans people. There's no. Everyone's in little pockets everywhere. Yeah,
it's completely fragmented, so it makes us more disconnected than ever and unable to galvanise. I suppose. Yeah, interesting.
I also can't. The conspiracy theorist in me thinks that this Extinction Rebellion thing seems to be very handy for Prince Philip. Very handy. Yeah. It's probably nothing to do with it, but it's worth mentioning.
Andrew, you mean?
Sorry, Andrew.
Yeah.
There's something. You know,
they're using Meghan as a deflection tactic in the media as well, very cleverly, I think. See, she seems to be getting more shit than him, and I'm like, well, hang on.
Yeah, but I think she's getting more shit than him because they love sticking shit on her because she is so ready to play the race card. Like, I think she's an abhorrent person. Like, I think she's horrible. I think
I don't think she's
all of them are horrible.
No, I don't think it's that black and white.
I do.
Pardon the fun. You think they're all horrible?
Yes, all of them. I don't believe that you can look at the royal family. If you just take the Queen, for instance, her job is to sit on a fucking gold chair now and again and say things to a country.
Doesn't mean she's a horrible person.
No, I don't think you can treat them as human beings. I think it's too. I think the lives. I don't mean. See, it's. I mean that.
I think in a weird way it's down a bit. I think in a weird way I wouldn't want that. I think it's a really compromised existence.
Yeah,
I think it's the hyper level.
It would be for you because you've grown up as a normal person, but they've been born into this.
True, but there's Harry wanted to stay in the army supposedly, didn't they?
I don't believe any of that. Any of it. I genuinely think everything we see of the royal family is staged.
Right.
I don't think they pick their own family. I think Meghan was brought in because, for want of better words, the royal family needed a bit of colour in the new world, in the way the modern world works. I thought they thought it'd be a good PR thing. They've got the rebel prince anyway, so have him marry like a normal actress.
Maybe, but then why do they divorce and fall out and have normal human interactions like everybody else?
They divorce when they have children. Most of the time.
You're suggesting they're not human.
No, I'm suggesting that they. We know the reason that Diana was brought in with Prince Philip was because the royal family wanted to breed with the Spencer family.
Yeah.
Like
Oh yeah, but
we
you know,
don't. But
you could argue it's no different than like arranged marriages in India.
No, I don't think it is any different.
Yeah,
I think that's exactly what it is.
Yeah,
but it's and
I don't know. I mean,
I can't take it.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't really mind the royal family. I'm ambivalent. Ambivalent. Yeah, it's fine. I don't think they're lizard people. I would like it if they were lizard people. They'd be more interesting to me.
See, this is where the left has abandoned me.
What do you mean?
Well, because I think hating the royal family is a very left way to be.
Yeah.
Don't leave me with the royalists.
One of my best friends is a staunch royalist and staunch Tory. He's a really good guy, but yeah, maybe he's maybe because I like The Crown. Maybe it's a good drama. Maybe you'd love The Crown.
But yeah, right. Back to Family Guy.
Back to Manson with hemp.
Yeah, the first thing I noticed watching this lecture.
How much did you watch again?
2.5 hours. He
fucking hell.
He said nothing.
He watches this, so you don't have to.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, the thing was, I read a couple of things of this, and I already found this lecture online. It was on his website, so I didn't find it. I went to his website. It's not like I hunted. And
was it like rapturous? Were they all converts? Or?
No, because this was before it all kicked off. So it was basically him in a community centre speaking to like 30 people, something like that. Like I say, first thing that got me was he kept saying about
the science tells us.
The science tells us, but he never quoted anything. All he did was quote. He quoted a book, which was it? A paper. He kept quoting this single paper, which he said was the most downloaded academic paper in history. Yeah? Now, I'm not the greatest investigative journalist. I couldn't find this paper. And
he's probably lying.
Now, I would have thought, if you look at it as an academic paper, like this climate change paper would have been up against things like, I don't know, origins of the species, for instance. I'd imagine that's a hefty downloaded piece of literature.
Charlie D knew his stuff.
Well, either him or the guy who rubbed it off.
Oh yeah.
But and it wasn't even in the top 100 downloads of 2018, which is what I went through to try and find this paper.
Yeah.
And I think he's talking bollocks, to be perfectly honest.
He seems like the kind of mad cunt. Obviously, I mean, I'm trying to frame him from like a writer's perspective. You know, this guy lives in quite a country manor house. You know, breeds his own pigs. Quite a posho. Probably has a lot of cheese boards nights with his friends. Plays a bit of charades, and then for whatever reason, you know, weather impacts upon his fucking beetroot farm or whatever, or people realise that organic is just another word for really expensive veg that tastes the same as.
And don't quote me on this, but I'm reasonably convinced of it. There is no such thing as organic.
I don't believe so. No, I think it is an absolute. It's just a marketing.
No, organic soy anymore.
Oh,
I think all soy, because it's so temperamental to cold, has been genetically modified with fish genes to protect from frost. So
fine,
but no,
give me the fish genes.
But this is the crazy thing. Doesn't that mean that there is no such thing as a vegan? everything involved in like being vegan and vegetarian involves soybeans at some point. All your plant-based products are based on soy.
Milk,
anything that's got to be meat thing. Yeah. And don't get me wrong, like this is how much of a cunt I am. This is how much of a cunt I am. I've cut 50% off of my meat intake. I had like plant-based steak for lunch and stuff like that.
How was that?
It's lovely.
Was it?
Yeah, it's really nice. Now, and half of it is, some of it's really
tasty.
Yeah,
I've had hit and miss experiences with it, but yeah.
The other half is that I don't believe in human-led climate change, and I'm still doing more than the people that'll have a go at me for saying I don't believe in it.
So are you doing this purely on a spiteful mission.
Yeah, pretty much. Just say like, look, I don't believe in your cause, and I'm still doing more than you are. But like, one of my favourite quotes from his lecture was, "The name of the game is to bring down all regimes in the world, ideally simultaneously, and replace them with our own." Now, does that sound like?
Was it the academic paper Mein Kampf?
Well, listen.
Has it been reading a bit of Nietzsche?
We're not sending out emails and asking for donations.
Doesn't sound non-violent.
No, we are not sending out emails or asking for donations. We are going to force governments to act, and if they don't, we will bring them down. We will bring them down and create a democracy which is fit for our purpose. A democracy that doesn't involve voting.
What, a totalitarian government then?
Yes,
a coup,
essentially
overthrowing.
And the idea would be, from what I gathered, what he thought would be you would. This is crazy because what he does is say a government, but it'd be a non-elected government. He said because you would have a group of people which would make the decisions, and then they would give options, and then we would ask the people to put it to a public vote. Like, the bureaucracy that would go on would be fucking unreal. What he's saying is that every decision that gets made causes Brexit. Because that's what happens when you put big decisions to a referendum. Is they become fucking equally split, and then all fucking hell breaks loose because one side loses.
I mean, this guy, they're non-violent and they're pacifists. So, I mean, maybe they'll cause a military coup using parsnips as their weaponry.
Well, like you say, I mean, non-violent and obviously thinking of the people. That's why the practical implementation happens by paralysing major cities and masses. By paralysing, I should have brought my glasses in. By paralysing major cities and masses of people. According to Helmy, disabling traffic significantly long enough that would halt food supplies, medical supplies, and a shortage of general amenities to the public. Once this happens, the public will uprise and the regime will fall.
I'm sorry, is this Extinction Rebellion or is it the fucking Joker?
Exactly, I know, exactly.
What the fuck?
So, but that's why the roadblocks are happening. Yeah, that's the idea of it.
I think that the good thing I would say is, at the moment,
is that it's enough people are waking up to the bullshit.
Yeah,
fuck this shit.
Pretty much everyone I speak to, like, I always kind of gauge these things with. I know it's only a little microcosm, but on the working floor when I'm talking to people at work, and pretty much everyone is saying, yeah, we need to do more about the environment. I recycle, whatever, blah blah blah. But these are a bunch of cunts.
I am shocked. I don't use my Facebook a lot.
Me neither. I haven't been on for months actually.
I'm shocked with the amount of people I know which are fucking diggity down with all this stuff.
Okay.
Shocked by it.
Yeah, so I guess maybe I'm in my own little bubble because I don't use Facebook at all really. And that's their right if they want to, but it's a free world and all that. But I like you said, I want to know. Like, Greenpeace must be pretty fucked off.
Well, Greenpeace is a fucking dead thing now, isn't it?
Yeah. Oh, is it completely?
It sank with Rainbow Warrior. Mind you, Rainbow Warrior was just like a gay disco ship now.
Yeah, I would hit the Rainbow Warrior. It would be fabulous. I would be taking the funky town. The Rainbow Warrior.
You better keep me away from the icebergs because I am raising the temperature. Girl! Like, fucking iceberg shaped dildos all over the place.
Great. I actually want us to seriously think about making this happen.
So what did you find out about old Helmy then? I've fucking rambled on enough about what I think about him and why.
Yeah, man. I mean, I would kind of echo your sentiments. Definitely the cult of personality, a defensiveness born from somebody who isn't isn't confident. He's not a natural orator. He's not someone who has, as you say, he doesn't substantiate anything he says with facts. So he can't go in. He's not good enough. Mm-hmm. You know how we've said like Tommy Robinson is just out of his depth.
Yeah.
So he's just not good enough. He's not an operator. This guy is not an operator, which fills me with confidence because I would like to listen to scientists, and I think a lot of governments are. So I don't see massive. I don't see a massive issue.
Do you know what I've started to realise when I see a lot of these things? There's a really good website actually that I will fucking dig for anyone that's interested in. I will dig the website address out and I'll tweet it because it's it's something like such and such against climate change. Fucking hell! I can't remember what the website's called. Basically, it's a catalogue of real scientific papers saying, look, the climate's changing, but these are the reasons why it could be. These are the reasons why we might not be causing it. These are what we should be doing and stuff. It's a genuinely good news source for this sort of thing.
Yeah.
And there was a couple of really fucking cool things I clocked from it that we're blaming CO2 emissions, yeah? And for fucking start, CO2 is massively fucking important to everything anyway.
Yeah.
It's not fucking a man-made pollutant. You know, it's something that's important to a whole ecosystem. It's during the Second World War, I think was the largest spike in CO2 emissions in history, maybe. I don't know whether the Industrial Revolution was higher, but I would imagine we don't have a written record of the Industrial Revolution, so we're going to go with World War II. So there was a massive spike in CO2 emissions around that point. What followed after the end of the Second World War was like a 4-year record low temperatures after that, which kind of flies in the face against put more CO2 in the atmosphere, things heat up.
Yeah.
They were saying that one of the things that's much more likely to be causing this is water vapor in the air. Now, and the reason that these people won't jump on the water vapor idea for climate change is because there's nothing we can do about water vapor. We don't cause it. It's a thing that happens in our atmosphere.
Do you think it's like
and it's natural earth cycles.
And also, do you think the aforementioned human hubris, like we can control this?
Yeah, I think so.
Actually,
I think it's human arrogance.
We can't. Yeah. Like the power of volcanoes.
But it also gives, and don't get me wrong, I found myself doing it as well because I enjoy Twitter and I enjoy, like, I don't really have lots of Twitter arguments, but I like the idea of at least putting my 2 pence out. Yeah, I'm throwing 2 pence into the fucking black hole, but
yeah,
like I've always said,
into the smouldering ash.
When we started doing this podcast, I said like at least if I can, if I'm right and everything that's going on is fucked up and it's going to fuck everything up like permanently, that when I'm old and grey and my son's going, fuck, what happened? I fucking tried.
Yeah.
I tried and no one listened.
Listen to the episodes. Only the first hour, then I ended up quite pissed.
Yeah. But there's just so many things. Even the fact that when the papers come out, it's always academics. Like 500 academics agree with climate change. You're right, okay, well, who are they? Because that means people that work in academia. So what have you got? A physicist and then 899 kooks?
It's like anything. Like you've got to interrogate where the data's from. That there's no
but
true.
There's never a trail to people. It's just a fact.
And the thing is, there's never. And this isn't to denounce the work of scientists at all, because I believe in logic and reason and science. But
that's why we're sat here in my fucking room with far too much technology around.
A lot of technology. Wouldn't know what to do with it.
Recording a show that will ultimately go out to a few thousand people. Recording throwing a live show out to enough people that can be bothered watching it.
Yeah. Well, thank you if you are watching our beautiful heads. It's freaky when you say.
We do have beautiful heads.
We do have beautiful heads. It's true. I've lost my train of thought.
About 4,000 people a month.
Is it?
Yeah.
Oh, beautiful bastards. Hope I don't let them down. No, I've got to be underwhelmed by my actual face. Or aroused.
Apparently, I was told that I'm funnier, that people can see me. I don't know how to take that. It was then. It was then prefaced with, "Oh yeah, well it's because when Lee throws a one-liner out, I can see how dry and deadpan his face is."
Oh yeah, you don't change.
But
there's no.
I mean, I feel like maybe that was damage control.
Maybe. Yeah, maybe, but that's fine. Like a Wookiee doing a joke.
If I can change things and make things better, I will be the fucking jester, motherfucker.
Yeah, hell yes.
The Joker, if you will.
The Joker, if you will. There's no thing. Extinction Rebellion.
I suppose I am an incel. I've been in a long-term relationship for years.
It's considering it's so
in a cell, in a sock. It goes anywhere, just not inside a woman.
There's the title. We'll forget that though.
Oh, absolutely.
So hopefully somebody will comment and remind us, because we always forget the titles. We will move on from Extinction Rebellion shortly. It's not for something that's so supposedly global. Doesn't seem the most inclusive of all of our cultures.
It doesn't. No.
It seems rather middle class white.
And not just that,
liberals.
The countries that are getting targeted as well. 1.5% of the world's CO2 emissions come from the UK. We are one of the lowest, like second lowest.
Where's China? And China and India must be very high.
I think China's highest.
And they don't give a fuck. There's not going to be an extinction rebellion in China.
No, because
fuck that.
Do you see if Greta went to China?
She would come back.
No, she would have disappeared.
Yeah, she'd be in the bin.
Yeah,
with the.
And then people would have gone, oh yeah, but the news, is there anything on the news? No, we don't get Chinese news because there's this big fucking curtain up. So yeah,
good
that's what would
communism.
Happen. If she'd gone to India, she'd have been sold. If she'd have gone to any Middle Eastern country, she'd have been beheaded. So this is why the people are doing things here.
And it's also why
it's terribly racist of me. I don't mean it to be.
But no, it's like Western democracy. We give everyone your plinth, your podium. Yeah. You can say your piece. That's fine. But we're quite we're on the. I'm being massively general here, but and there are incredible social inequalities and everything else, and it's not a perfect society. Democracy, as proven with Brexit, is a fucking shit show. But it's still better than the majority of other ideologies in that sense. So we give people a voice, and we can say we agree and we don't agree, but we're respectful and we're reasonable with that for the most part until social media hypes it up. But she can't even go to these countries because they have such vehement stances which fly in the face of anything that is welcoming. So it's frustrating, I think. Again, it's that, well, hang on, we're all right here.
Well, this is the thing. I didn't realise until this sort of things started happening, and since we started devouring our own civilization,
eating ourselves.
I didn't realise how much I appreciate Western society.
Yeah,
and
totally. When I landed in India,
I'm all for other cultures and stuff like that.
Yeah,
I just don't want them.
No,
no. I don't mean that as a Tommy Robinson way. I don't want them here. I just think that if you look at the if you're playing Civilization, the game, and you took religion as a way to try and conquer the world, it's probably not going to work. You're probably going to get battered, especially if it's a pacifist one. If you take capitalism, for instance, I think capitalism gives you a good balance of what we have in the West as far as freedom, and then the monetary incentive to work and try and make things better. The only other one is that then like a dictatorship where you're told what to do. But as we know, slavery is not the best form of incentive.
Oh, great.
You're not going to get the best out of people. So as far as I'm concerned, if you take all of the cultures in the world, as far as what's going to progress the human race forward more, it's going to be in a democracy and a capitalist society that pushes it forward.
And it's not perfect.
But this is also what got me irritated me with Greta's we can't have infinite growth now, because she's completely wrong. because it was only because of video games I thought of this. We can have infinite growth now. We couldn't back in the 60s when things were moving as they were.
Yeah.
But growth now isn't merely in the physical form. Growth has gone into the electronic form.
Yeah.
So we can have infinite growth now. We can have infinite monetary growth for things because essentially we're paying money for things that don't exist.
Oh yeah.
We're paying money for fucking like time on the internet and stuff like that.
Yeah, we're paying money, which is a social construct.
So
that doesn't exist either.
But her thing of this capitalist dream, of infinite growth, which is unobtainable, is fucking bullshit. Because it is. You can keep going. It will have to change and evolve. Of course, it'll have to change. And
there'll be financial crashes and everything else. There'll be bubbles, but it's sustained us so far.
Yes.
Until there's a better alternative.
And it's given us the financial security to do fucking stupid things like stand on top of trains.
Exactly. We've got a good life, you know.
Do you know if you sign up for Extinction Rebellion, you get paid? Do you get paid to demonstrate?
I thought it was only the head honchos who get paid.
No. You get living expenses.
I did hear about.
Don't get me wrong. I'm pretty sure if I signed up, my living expenses would be a lot lower than Mr. Fucking Helmy.
Yeah.
But Helm. Sorry, Helmy's a paint that I use. No. But this is what the other thing that worries me with them as well.
Well, there is a fund, isn't there, that has been set up solely by some benefactors. I think there is.
And you can donate to it as well.
Yeah, and that fund is. I'd be interested to know.
Please don't donate to Extinction Rebellion. Please don't do it. Go and sign up to my Patreon.
Yeah, do that.
That makes a difference.
Save the planet.
But
sign up to Patreon.
Save the fucking planet from dickheads. Sign up to my Patreon.
Yep.
But what worries me with that is that means you can essentially buy an army to demonstrate.
Yeah.
Then it's not real. What you see in
these aren't people who are joining.
No wonder there's a lot of students doing it.
Yeah, exactly.
Students will do anything for a tenner.
Exactly. You know, that makes you wonder how much of it is legitimate.
Well, I think you can tell how much it's legitimate by the fact that I don't know about you, but as far as CO2 emissions, none of my research for this podcast showed that any type of interpretive dance lowered any CO2 emissions. Never in the history of the planet has any dance lowered temperature.
No, I mean, my findings are remarkably similar. But those dances, they're the cunts you avoid at the Edinburgh Fringe.
Where are your mass shooters then? That's what I want to know.
Yeah.
You get a load of people going for a good time in Las Vegas, and pop.
Yeah.
And there's loads of them gone, and it's fucking awful. It's horrendous. But dickheads can fucking pretend to be a fucking green ocean in the middle of Piccadilly Square.
Most people hated it. I think.
The
reaction on Twitter.
The red guys. Jesus Christ!
Mate.
I don't understand. I don't get it.
No.
It all it looked like was
Glastonbury at 2 a.m.
Glastonbury at 2 a.m. or
minus the
middle of the
drugs.
green fields.
Yeah, minus the drugs.
No, I think there was plenty of drugs.
But for me to be able to tolerate it.
Did you see Newton Faulkner trying to put a fucking curse on the police?
What?
The guy with the dreadlocks.
Yeah, I remember him.
Yeah, he looked just like Newton Faulkner.
Yeah.
You just think,
I didn't see that.
Did you not?
No.
Oh, it's fucking tremendous. I implore anyone to go and look at it. I just don't get it. I don't get any of it. But I don't get the blind faith people are willing to have in it.
That's the thing, isn't it? I think we can try and do our bit, and we can, accept that maybe there are some issues with the environment, and maybe we need to be a bit better. It's like the whole point of evolution, in a sense, now is social evolution. We try and be better than the previous generation.
See if Extinction Rebellion was all about making air quality better, making air quality better to lower lung cancers and stuff like that, I would be fucking well into it. Let's lower man-made carbon emissions to make the world better, but don't tell me that we're going to destroy the planet.
And we're all dying.
The planet will be fine. The planet was hit by a couple of fucking like country-sized rocks that wiped out other species of life on the planet, and the planet's been fine.
Yeah.
Isn't there something like that in the history of the human race, as far as CO2, the Iceland volcano put more CO2 into the atmosphere
There is something like that.
than the entire industrial revolution.
Yeah. So we just, it's like the Jim Jeffries thing, just trying not to be a cunt.
Exactly.
You know.
Yeah.
The sun's going to scorch us all to our death. We'll just wait for that day.
We've also been very strange sun cycles as well over the last sort of decade. So this is the thing. We have a massive yellow ball which flies past us every day, which changes the temperature from being fucking minus numbers to like plus fucking 40 at certain
It's witchcraft as well, because it controls our moods.
Yeah.
And like the moon controls the tides.
Yeah.
It's fucking, you know, these guys, the moon and the sun, I don't trust them.
A different world.
Should we move on from Extinction Rebellion?
Yeah, I think we should. But like, I genuinely think, as far as people think about climate change, maybe they should look more into what changes the climate on a fucking 24-hour basis than when they get in the car and start the engine.
Yeah, and maybe stop farting. Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe you should put a cork in your ass. And also, vegans, we fart more than anyone. All that veg. Honking. It's their fault. They're worse than the cows.
Because I quite like vegan kebab meat. It's really good.
Oh my god.
It's so heavily spiced. It's just a texture.
But then I don't even know what kebab meat is.
Exactly. So at least I know this is tofu.
It's like lamb.
I don't even know what tofu is, though. I know it's this white fucking block.
Soy, is it? Soybean?
I think it's just soy. But the
I like tofu.
Yeah, I
mean, it's absolutely tasteless, but I like the texture.
Yeah, it depends what you put it on.
It's like pasta or rice, you know. It's tasteless until you put stuff on it.
But I keep taking the piss out of my girlfriend because I do all the shopping for the house. I look at my Sunday shop, or which was today. I did Friday shop this week. I look at it as my hunter-gatherer. And I'm going out and hunting food for the family.
Did I say evolve? Sorry, I meant devolve.
But I keep taking the piss out of my girlfriend, saying, "Oh yeah, well, you know, like I quite like these vegan steaks. I think they might go vegan." So no, I like eating meat. I was like, "That's great," but I'm the one that's buying it. So if I come home with just vegan meat, you're gonna have to eat vegan meat.
Yeah. So, are you going to continue with it?
I think so. I like the taste of it. Are
you trying to be healthier as well, not just spiteful?
Do you know what? I don't even know if it's healthy.
I don't know if it is, because there's so many additives and everything else.
Yeah, and that's something that makes like the vegan steaks are so nice. Like they're really tasty.
Right.
And I really worry about how tasty they are because I want to know what's made them tasty.
They can't be that far off with the genetically modified burgers and beef.
See, I think I will stay clear of, if someone turns around and says, no, this is meat but just grown in a lab, I'm like, well, I'm gonna give this 5 years, yeah.
Yeah.
So
see what the drop off is.
Because it can't be great. We know if basically in everything.
I'd give it a go.
Well,
all right. It's got to be better than fucking kebab at 3 a.m.
I'd have a quick. Kebab meat is strangely healthy. It's full of saturated fats.
What is it?
It's just lamb.
Lamb larynx.
Yeah, no.
It's
the Louis Theroux did a thing about it. And
it's one of the few ones I haven't seen of his.
And I'm sure it was Louis Theroux. And I might be lying about him, who it was, but I know the documentary was real. But it turned out that the one you don't want is chicken kebabs. Like the skewer ones. That's fucking beaks and eyeballs and testicles.
It's delicious.
Stay away from that shit.
It's delicious.
But the doner kebab is just ground lamb.
There you go.
Yeah. But speaking about cutting parts off people, there's been some crazy things happening in the world of sport. But people have been cutting parts off themselves.
Yes, nice segue. So, Dr. Rachel, the cyclist.
Yes.
Are you talking about? Yeah, what's her name?
Dave.
Rachel. Dave? Dave, now Rachel McKinnon, the biological male who, congratulations, Big Dave, won the Women's World Cycling Championships for a second year in a row.
Yeah.
Despite sporting a sizable beer gut.
It's fine as well because like 2 weeks before she won the World Championship again, she did a documentary or I think a news bit for BBC saying explaining just how little difference there was and just how much of a disadvantage being trans was in a sport.
Excuse me while I eye roll. Oh, the people can actually see that now. That's good.
Yeah. You can look that way in eye roll if you want. I can even go and give him an eye roll. There you go.
It's almost erotic. Yeah, so they have to keep trans athletes, supposedly, who compete in the female realm, have to keep lower testosterone levels than their counterparts, apparently.
Yes.
They're still men, though. Still got the muscle mass and everything else.
Muscle mass, bone density.
I have an interesting... And before anyone kicks off and thinks we're fucking transphobic, it's not about that. It's about the fact that trans people are competing and usurping women. So actually, feminists... And to be fair, I have read quite a lot of feminists who are anti this, to be fair.
I don't understand how this isn't the biggest...
I think it's been shut down by bigger people than the... I read a lot of really good feminist writers like Julie Bindel, Hadley Friedman.
But I think it's a good example of the left eating itself. And... yeah, especially the woke left, because I think that's a good line that we should start using actually, instead of just saying like.
I think so.
Yeah, because if you say like extreme left,
I still read the Guardian.
Like
I'm still a fucking lefty. I am, at heart.
Well, I was our friend and my co-host Martin Kane. Yeah. I mentioned the far left to him the other day in a podcast. He said, "Well, there's no such thing as the far left." So, which I said, well...
what's Antifa then?
Well, I said, your Roger Helmy guy is having demonstrations in London at the minute with the whole intention of overthrowing the government. If that isn't a far left ideology, I don't know what is.
Yeah, no, I think there's extremes in every ideology, personally.
But
I'd agree with him.
I think if you say the woke left, it kind of... That's the enemy in my eyes. If we're going to draw a battle line, that's what I would consider.
I'd say the alt-right as well, for me.
Absolutely.
I'd say
but again...
It's extremity. It's extremity. I miss the days.
But you know what? I've never been attacked for not being right-wing enough. I've never had like an extreme right-wing guy having a go at me for not being racist enough. Whereas I've been pretty left-wing and I have people on the sort of far left way have a go at me for not being woke enough.
It's that eating yourself thing, isn't it? It's
no one's woke enough.
No, you never can be.
No.
For those people, I suppose. My friend at work made a good point. He used to compete for the Isle of Man in the Island Games 400 meters.
The woke championships.
He at 16 he ran the 400 meters quicker than any woman in history had ever run it. And he's a 16-year-old amateur runner.
That's ridiculous.
I thought it was a really interesting point.
I remember...
And he said, and he's a very tolerant guy. He's definitely left-wing. And he said, this is an absolute disgrace. And the athletics community are up in arms about it. And I was like, are they? Because you're not hearing much. Are they really? And he says, yeah, it's a huge issue at the moment. But it seems to be being shut down.
I remember there was a Joe Rogan show where he was talking about UFC and they were having this very same conversation.
I think I saw this one.
He apologised because he once said it would be interesting to see what Ronda Rousey could have done when she was her height against a man of similar stature. It'd be interesting to see where they would have landed. And he said, I think I got carried away with what I was saying. And his view of it is, you could take the best female UFC fighter. And he said she would get destroyed by the top 100 male UFC fighters or male mixed martial arts fighters. There really is, but there wouldn't be 100 fighters in UFC anyway, so he's going down into amateur stuff there. But
the thing is, that doesn't diminish.
10 years time there will be no women's sport if this continues.
I'd like to think that wouldn't happen, but
when you've got who's the tennis player that got attacked?
Martina Navratilova, who is
she's been like a gay rights advocate for
fucking
years.
hell, and she got she was
up of the game,
probably the great before the Williams sisters, the greatest of her time and dealt with, ironically, narrow-minded attitudes towards homosexuality in the 80s, and dealt with it with nothing but magnanimous grace and a lot of abuse from people who didn't understand, and came through it with real dignity and class. And she is the epitome of somebody who is rose from who's had complete bravery in the face of fucking difficult levels of intolerance.
Yeah.
And yet she has been, I think she's lost a sponsorship deal, she's been silenced, she's been absolutely shot down with her criticism of this. And she, person who's received, it must be so frustrating as a woman for her, who's fought the genuine battling cry for women, to be chastised as transphobic, as anti-woman, and for her voice to be silenced. Same with Sharon Davies, the Olympic swimmer. She's another who's come out and said similar. It must be massively disheartening and really quite worrying. And from a female perspective, this is men shitting on women in a really, really bad way. Let's just put it simply. And that is what supposedly
in sport. Well, yeah, it's in a game sport. Yeah, it's men shitting on women. In a combat sport, it's men beating up women.
Absolutely, which is even that's scary. And then you flip it the other way, in society with unisex bathrooms and that kind of stuff, and that's perverted men having an out.
Also, this won't go the other way, and I think that's what people need to start realising as well.
No, it won't.
Is you are not going to get a female transition into a male.
No.
That's going to be able to compete with males. That's why, you look at whenever people are representing the trans community, it's always men.
Yeah.
It's always men that are flying the flag for this, because they know they are the ones that are the targets. They're the ones that are that are pushing the boundaries of what's morally correct.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't mean morally correct as in like we shouldn't have trans people. I don't care.
No, that's a separate issue.
Yeah.
And that's I've discussed on this podcast before that my cousin was born a girl and now is 19 and has identified as a boy for 4 or 5 years now. No surgery or anything like that has taken place, but so it's something I'm still trying to work out. To be honest, but I don't have any transphobic notions. This is purely on a sporting basis.
But I think
it's exploitative.
But in those situations, if you've got someone that's 18 or 19, I think that's the age where people should take notice of things. Do you know what I mean?
Totally. You are okay. You're an adult.
Let's talk about this.
Well, you're in that ground between adult and child, aren't you?
Yeah.
Absolutely. He's a good egg, but not when you're a child. But yeah, it's really undermining female sport, and I think it is a genuine problem, and it's fucking abhorrent, to be honest.
Apparently, schools are the worst thing for it, because for school sport, I know this is something that's going on in America. I have no idea whether it's a thing in the UK or not yet. I would imagine. I still say that if you watch what's going on as far as social commentary wise in the US, we are 2 years behind it hitting the shore in the UK.
And we're about 10 years.
I think the only difference, the only thing I got was, which I think I've had slightly wrong, is I expected Antifa to have a bigger representation in the UK, but we don't need it because we've got Extinction Rebellion. I think Extinction Rebellion is, if you look at Extinction Rebellion in the US, there isn't a great deal of coverage of it.
No,
but that's because the people that would have gone in for that are already fucking membership signing with Antifa.
Certainly, yeah.
I think it's a very similar thing.
Pretty fluid.
Or it's they've obviously both got different. Well, they've both got the same goals. They've just got different manifestos for those goals. But you're the same people that would be involved in those things. So I think it's a similar demographic.
Yeah, I wouldn't necessarily disagree with that.
But yeah, I think if you look at what's going on in America, we absorb so much of American culture. It's all even.
Oh God, yeah.
I don't even think we need to realise it anymore. That's what I think is fucking hilarious about the pushback on a American trade deal. You know, as far as Britain goes, you think, well, fucking hell, all your imports been from fucking America for ages. It just has to go through Europe before it gets here.
Yeah.
You know, I don't get what your fucking problem is.
Yeah,
But
we've been in Americanized culture for quite a long time.
Yeah.
To be honest. Yeah, since they bailed us out of World War II. Thank you, Yanks.
But what do you think? Do you see any end in sight for the transport thing? Because I can just see it.
Yes, I think there will be a tipping point. She's world champion in the 37 to 40 category.
Which is not being called out on it.
No,
she's being called out on it.
It's not high profile enough. It's not high profile enough. Yes, it's world champion, but it's world champion in a very niche. If it was the Olympics and it was the 100-meter sprint and a bloke was smashing it in 10 seconds against a bunch of women, I think it would be called out.
Well, I think
that would be furore.
The Olympics has been the one, hasn't it? They've already said that
it's next year, isn't it?
They're not going to allow trans people to compete in their thing. I mean, this is the thing. If you really cared about equality, then have trans.
Well, just have a trans games
division
or trans.
Trans run.
Yeah, male, female, trans. Done. It's simple for me.
Yeah. But there's no advantage to doing that. So
no, and there's not enough either. It's not that I think that there aren't enough. Maybe I don't think that.
See, that's the.
Which it's still an anomaly.
This is the danger now, because we might as well transition into our second thing, third thing, which was our your man in Texas. Now, you know more about this than I do, and it's going to fit quite nicely, so we can carry on talk about the same subject.
Okay.
So, give us a rundown on the Texas guy.
This is a story I stumbled upon on Twitter inadvertently, and there hadn't been very much on it. So basically, there's a 7-year-old boy, same age nearly as my eldest boy, James Younger is his name. And if you're on Twitter or anything, just type James Younger in, hashtag James Younger. It makes for quite sobering reading. Certainly as a parent, you don't have to be a parent to feel this, but it'd be interesting to get feedback. I imagine.
Do you know what? I think you'd be surprised how much you do.
It definitely adds. Yeah. It adds something, but I would have felt outraged by this, but with having a kid, it adds another layer for sure.
I think with,
it makes it very pertinent.
Yeah. But I'm amazed actually that I don't think anyone thinks they don't care about kids. Yeah. But I'm amazed at the amount that some people who don't have kids actually don't care. Yeah. Oh, they're willing to go, oh, that's terrible. Oh, look, a butterfly.
Yeah. I find that a bit sociopathic, but I guess I've always been. I've always.
This is a very good time to remind people that Jeffrey Epstein killed himself in his cell with a paper sheet and the.
He's the MacGyver of suicide.
And the autopsy report came out today, and he had several broken bones in his neck.
Yeah, from the sheet. If you catch it, a load of paper cuts. The damage can be
slashed, clean through the muscle, lacerating the bone.
Oh, Epstein, you MacGyver of suicide.
And the terrible thing was, because it was paper cuts that killed him, it meant he died going.
What were his final words? Death by paper cuts. Oof. That's some Guantanamo shit right there, man.
That is in Chinese torture, isn't it? With no, there is a death of 1,000 cuts, isn't there?
Oh my god. Yeah, I mean, probably. That sounds.
It's either that or it's a Bruce Lee film. It's one of the two.
I'm gonna watch it if it is. Holy shit! I definitely watch that film. Nunchucks. Paper airplanes.
Is it just me that's thinking of the insides of their fingers?
Oh, yeah.
Oof. Fucking hell. I feel it. I fucking eat the sheet if it got me out that quicker. So yeah, Texas.
Texas.
Everything's bigger in Texas.
Everything's bigger in Texas, including this story in terms of the hyperbole. But not that much reported on it. So I think it's only a couple of days ago. I'll just consult my notes. So James Younger, his mother and father have had a rather acrimonious split, and the mother was vying for custody, for custody of the child, and the father was too. Mother ended up, who is not the biological mother, by the way.
I didn't know that.
I believe.
Crazy.
I need to delve more, so apologies if that's wrong, but I'm sure I read that. The mother won custody, but in the initial verdict, basically, sorry, I'm rambling. Long story short, the mum says that their 7-year-old boy wants to be a girl and wants to have autonomy over making that decision to chemically transition that boy to a girl. And the dad is apoplectic with rage.
And I believe that one of the main reasons cited over this was because the boy really likes Frozen.
He likes Frozen. There was something else he liked. He mentioned that he loved Stardust, a character from some cartoon. Some Stardust or something like that. I can't remember. But
Stardust was a wrestler. He was a male wrestler, though.
I don't think it's Stardust, the male wrestler. I may have made it's something. Maybe it was a character from Frozen. I don't know. I have seen Frozen. Anyway, I'm rambling. But there's a video. Have you seen the video of the kid? Fuck.
No.
There's a video that the dad's put out there, and he's been silenced now. The dad, as part of the ongoing court case that's going that's kind of concluded yesterday. He's not allowed to post any more information on social media. But he basically thought, I'm going down fighting here, because she won custody of the kid, and initially, a Texas jury, which just stunned me, because a Texas jury voted, basically decided unanimously that she could make those decisions, and that the kid, in theory, could begin the process to transitioning at 7. So,
see, I don't believe that anybody at 7 years old.
Fuck no.
See, do you know what? One of the big problems I have with this, and it's again because you feel like you fucking have to do this in this day and age because people don't understand how to fucking conversations. I don't have a problem with homosexuality by any means. Joe, it's fucking swans can do it, people can do it, as far as I'm concerned. But I do hate the idea of the born this way thing. Because nobody was born anyway.
You're not born sexualized.
No. Oh no, you're not born anything. You are a product of your environment. And if that makes you feel less unique, I'm fucking terribly sorry about it. But there's a reason why people have horrible upbringings and end up being fucking lunatics. It's because they're products of their environment. So I don't know what fucking sparks a thought. I don't know why, for instance, one of my best friends, Kevin, he is obsessed with Asian girls. Like, I'm a fucking, like, I like pale skin, not white people. I like goths to a certain extent. I don't know what caused that. Maybe it was because I thought Brian Melko was a girl the first time I saw him in a music video.
I'd probably still thought Brian Melko, to be honest.
But he looks incredibly young for his age. He has good skin. But, yeah.
All good foundation.
But this is the thing. I don't get, like, how people... even what's brought me to this point being here. Like, I was fucking horrifically bullied as a child. Like, horrifically bullied in school. There's been lots of building blocks that's brought me to this point that's essentially given me the freedom to a certain point to go, I don't really care what people think. You know, I think there has to be a certain level of doing that. You know, if you're going to do something like this, and especially the sort of podcast we do, you can throw out Formula One comments all you want, but if you turn around and say that you don't think fucking children should be allowed to transition, you know, there's going to be people with problems with that. And
I still wrestle with that.
Well,
yeah, I don't. I think it's a bit of a superpower what you have, that ability to not care what people think. Because I won't lie, I care what people think. I do care. But then I also have conviction in what I believe.
That's
So it's a wrestling thing.
I mean, I can. Don't
But at times I'll think, oh shit, I shouldn't have said that.
I can still be hurt, but
Yeah.
I think I've got to mean. As long as I mean what I say, I think that's the worst thing. If I'm disingenuous in what I'm saying, all right, because I've thought back now. There's been a couple of times where I've thought back. I thought actually I was wrong there, but I also.
But it's about changing and learning and developing and growing. You know, that's the whole point of life, isn't it?
But that's
not what the world wants now.
No,
you are canonized and you're branded forevermore for a tweet you sent 7 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm a very different person than I was then. You know, there are things I would say now that I wouldn't have said then.
I'm a massively different person than I was 2 years ago.
Yeah, exactly.
Massive.
That's good. That's what we're supposed to be doing.
Well, I think so. That's the idea.
And it's okay to admit you're wrong as well. Like people don't admit they're wrong anymore, or that I don't know.
I think people don't admit they're stupid too.
Yeah.
And that's I often
we admit that regularly. It's fine.
Well, this is the thing. My girlfriend now and again has turned around and said, sometimes she thinks I think I'm too intelligent. I don't think I'm intelligent, but I've realised how stupid I am. And that allows me to at least speak to what I think I know. Yeah. You know, I think it's a better way of looking at it. I don't all of a sudden think I'm clever. I just know how stupid I am.
I think you are being a bit self-effacing there. But yeah.
No. It's if you realise what you don't know, and it's
totally.
I have never been when I was like looking up the climate change thing and trying to fucking understand things. I have never felt fucking stupid in my entire life. Yeah, Jesus,
science will do that to you.
And it's the point where it's like I'm not just fucking not clever enough to understand what this is. I'm only just clever to get the end of this article. Like people, like there's little red marks. There's little red marks down the article where people have just put a tick where they've shot themselves halfway through. Just like, sorry lads, checked out here. But but that's the problem. People are not willing to admit they're wrong. I think this is where.
And also,
communication breaks down, and then you end up with couples going to court over fucking chemically castrating their child.
Yeah, and the video is pretty heartbreaking. It's like 1.5 minutes long, and it's readily available on Twitter if you type in.
Well, at that moment, they killed his son in front of him.
Yeah.
I don't think there's any other way to look at that.
There is hope amidst this.
I know. I didn't realise what you were going to say here, but for that moment.
Like you wouldn't blame him if he just in that interim period after the ruling, if he just fucked off and got a plane.
I wouldn't have blamed him if he took out one of the several guns he had on his pocket and shot people.
Well, that would have led nicely to joke actually. We'll wait. But the video, basically, the kid, he's exactly like my boy. He's just a bundle of madness, just spouting shit and really cute and lovely and innocent. And the dad's saying, well, it's kind of nefarious because the dad is obviously trying to get something out there. But I can absolutely 100% understand why he's done it. But he's basically saying, well, what does mummy make you do? And he said, well, she makes me paint my nails, and sometimes I don't want to paint my nails, but I paint my nails. And mummy says I should be a girl. And mummy says, you should wear a dress. You look very pretty in a dress. And dad says, so do you want to be a girl? He says, yeah, but there's no commitment. Like, the kid is just being absolutely brainwashed to believe that he's a girl. And
see, I worry this is going to happen a lot.
Well, the good thing is there was such an outcry about this that social media for good really has a huge impact.
No, but have you not noticed how the people raising babies and the people with fucking transgender kids and stuff like that, have you not noticed how they're all fucking incredibly woke? How, if you're born this way, what a fucking coincidence it is that you happen to be a trans kid with a fucking dad called Hobbit who used to be a woman and a mum called fucking Saffron that used to be a man. It's not a fucking accident, this shit, people.
It's true.
I wish I'd thought better names up.
Saffron was ideal. Looked really good. World's most expensive spice. So, due to the media campaign instigated by this journalist, Matt Walsh, I think it is, the next day, the judge basically overruled and said, yeah, the mum can still have custody because females still have more rights when it comes to kids and separation, unfortunately.
You should have identified as a woman.
Holy shit! Flipped it! Oh, twist! M. Night Shyamalan's in the room. Holy fuck, that would have been amazing.
If anyone wants legal advice.
He turns up in a dress. Fucking shit. Lipstick smeared on his head. I'm a woman now.
I've identified as a judge. You're a judge. Shame, isn't it?
Boom! Get your hands off me.
Then it just turns into an like the child called one-upmanship where she goes, well, I've identified as a Supreme Court judge. Well, I've identified as a god.
Then you run out. It's like a Korean action film from like 1992, directed by John Woo. There's no end to it, and then it just pans, and somebody just shoots the earth, and it explodes.
Which is probably well, you couldn't. You'd have to watch it come to you.
What? Yeah, true.
Can I have a moon house, please?
Thank you, Richard Branson. So yeah,
there is more chance of me getting to the moon than him.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Virgin Galactic is not leaving the fucking Liverpool.
No, definitely not.
Wouldn't that be a come down, wouldn't it, if Virgin Galactic ended up being like an inter-Britain flight, so you could fly from Glasgow to London. Just that was as far as it went. And it was still called Virgin Galactic.
That would be underwhelming, but fucking brilliant. Try our space juice.
Why is it Virgin Galactic? Everyone dresses like Star Wars, isn't it?
Yeah.
When you come in, people go, "Hi, Captain."
Love Star Wars, me. Good Star Wars ref. So yeah, the dad has been given. Well, how did he determine it? He'll have a say in any medical treatment. But yeah, it's a really sobering case.
Will he have does that mean he can stop something though?
It'll be like a 50. It has to be unanimous, I think,
right.
for anything to happen until the kid's 21, probably in America.
Jesus Christ! I dread to think what I would do. I think that's the sometimes because I said this to my girlfriend, and we are not on the same page about an awful lot of things, but thank fuck we're on the same page about this sort of stuff. God,
it's important stuff.
Yeah.
The kids, yeah, it's important.
It's not even that. Just the whole woke thing.
Oh, that okay.
Yeah,
whole. Yeah, me and my wife too. Yeah, totally. It would be a really big barrier, actually.
I think it would now because it's such a big divide.
Yeah,
it's such a big divide. I think it would be. See, that's the thing. You used to get people that didn't agree on things. But I don't like. Could you imagine like
it's the end of friendship?
A staunch Tory and a Corbynista going out with each other.
Not now.
It's not happening.
Not now. No, absolutely not. No,
it's a shame. It's a cunt because I quite like the word Corbynista.
Yeah, he fucking loves it. He fucking loves it. Brexit.
I've
tuning out now. Like it's the dwindling 7th season, isn't it? And it's just the writers are going, wow.
It's just deadlock. It's complete deadlock.
There's a lot of filler episodes.
I don't know what's going to get past it. I really don't. I see both sides today were calling for.
Well, we're getting the extension.
Physical action against. Members of Parliament.
But that's where we're at, and that's not a surprise. But then when you look into that article,
I haven't seen a good fucking hanging for years.
Yeah, bring that. Though a lot of people would bring that back. A lot of people would. That'd be a good day out.
I mean, I could watch any of them.
Yeah.
Any of them.
You'd be wanking though.
There'd be well, I think. I mean, do you know what? If I was wanking out a hanging and like someone said like, "What are you doing?" We're at a fucking hanging, dickhead.
Show some respect.
You're gonna watch someone get hung. I'm gonna have a wank.
It's almost.
Just don't look me in the eyes.
It's almost like you conspired to have an asphyxie wank on his behalf.
Yeah, kind of. Yeah.
You've Hutchinson the fuck out of that situation.
Who would you go to watch?
Who would I go to watch hang?
Yeah.
What a question.
Which MPs?
Right, MPs. I can't just name Celtic affiliates. Okay, who would well, not just abhorrent people in the world. Okay, MPs. Would I what? I mean, we could get this is live on YouTube. We could get in trouble. It's fine. I wouldn't want to watch any MP hang.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That was the right answer.
Yeah, I wouldn't. No.
Yeah, I don't
hate any of them.
I don't know any of them.
Don't know them. Like,
Yeah.
I've said before. I watched Farage over here. Thoroughly charismatic man. Get it. He's going to be deputy prime minister, by the way.
Who?
Farage.
In a Conservative government that gets re-elected?
Mm-hmm.
Do you think so?
Yeah, I do. Yeah. I do.
Be interesting. See, I still think somehow
he's more popular than
I somehow think he'll wind up being prime minister.
Maybe.
I think if he joins the Conservatives, Boris Johnson stands down. Boris Johnson does not want to be prime minister. He's been prime minister now. It's what Theresa May wanted. She wanted to tick the box. I think more than May, that's what Boris wants.
No, Boris has been obsessed with being prime minister. He thinks he's special. If my Tory friend has advised me that Boris from a young age always thought he was special. And he said, "I'm the new Churchill," and said from a young age he's got a crazy.
He's obsessed with Churchill.
And then he kicked out Churchill's grandson, didn't he? Nicholas Soames. That's how brutal he is.
But that just
it's Machiavelli.
It kind of shows it's bullshit to me.
What, the Churchill thing?
Yeah, a little bit.
I don't think so. Not from. It seems pretty intense.
Certainly
when he was at uni and everything.
Did you clock him at the Tory conference?
A little bit, yeah. It's got bits and bobs.
Did you see what happened with his dad? Because that was really interesting. It spoke volumes to me, especially someone like me. I
know his dad from Gogglebox.
Yeah, but no, I think
he's actually.
This will talk to you.
Okay.
Because we've both got like really close relationships with the dad, don't we?
Yes, we do. Yeah.
And he got to came off the stage, and he saw a couple of people. Come on, God, Boris, give him big hugs and stuff like that.
He's just Boris, isn't he?
Then he started man shaking people, which was a bit weird. And then he went to man shake his girlfriend. He gave his girlfriend a big hug. And then he went. This next guy went to give him a big hug as well, and he just gave him a man shake and walked off. And it was his dad.
Oh really?
Yeah.
Oh wow.
He was completely oblivious to the fact that his dad was sat next to him, and it was at that point I thought, oh, you know what? Like there's something that you're like the rest of them. There's something wrong with you.
You're missing something.
Yeah. I was never a particularly big Boris fan. Don't get me wrong. I still think I think he was probably a better mayor of London.
Yeah. I miss that Boris. Madcap Boris.
I think. Who's your
man?
I
loved Boris.
Who's your man now?
Yeah, a lot of people really hate him.
I think he gets a lot of passes.
I think he gets a lot of needless hate. Like, I find it very odd. People are just as if he has any control over knife.
Oh, of course.
Control. It's people are getting knifed all the time. It's like, well, yeah, because fucking governments are cutting. What? I mean, what's he gonna do? I find it odd. The hatred.
But this is Trump syndrome as well. Because Boris came in and the head of the Metropolitan Police said this would happen and why he was happy that Boris had got in, because he knew that the police was underfunded. So what was it, 1,200 police or something like that? Put back in,
potentially more. Yeah.
And but again, because it's Boris Johnson now, and the wet sort of woke media left have decided that he's our Trump. It's
he's definitely not a Trump.
No, I don't.
You know, he has compassion. He has some. He's ruthless, and he's definitely being puppeteered by Cummings, but there is still some remnants of decency within Johnson, I think, and I don't think Trump ever had any. When you look at, I've spoken about before.
I think Trump's honester.
Trump is a child; he doesn't know how to lie.
No, that's it. But I think what you're getting is,
yeah.
I think he would be the same person. This is what I think is fucking.
Well, that's bullshit actually, because he's very, very good at lying, and he will lie about stuff that he said that you see him say on camera. So actually, no, I take that back. That's complete nonsense.
No, because I don't think that's essentially not him lying.
Well, he passed a lie detector because he believes it.
He's living his truth.
Yeah, he's living his truth, exactly. Yeah, exactly right, dude. Yeah, I wouldn't disagree with you there. I still have a kind of weird fondness for Boris in a strange way, but he is deploying a pretty Machiavellian onslaught on the whole process.
How do you think? Well, I kind of think it's what it needs.
Well, he is certainly getting. People going about Trump getting shit done. I don't think he does really, but I think Boris with Cummings and everyone. What I don't. I wouldn't. I would always be a Remainer, and I always would be. And I think it's economic suicide personally. But hey ho, we're fucking so far down the rabbit hole. I actually just want it to be gone from the public lexicon. I want the conversation to be done. But in terms of how he has done it, it's been fucking bullshit. It's been, I don't know if you watch the program Succession. It's a great program. It's about Machiavellian politics. Very, very good. And a media empire. And it's just ruthless. It's ruthless. Like, he's getting rid of his hero's grandson. He's getting rid of friends. He's putting people in that he potentially doesn't have that much affiliation with, but he's putting hardcore Brexiteers in his cabinet to basically sustain his career at high level politics.
He was the Brexiteer, wasn't he? He was one of the guys.
Not initially. So, he's changed his mind so many times.
Was he?
See,
I only remember the bus.
He changed his tack completely. He's Machiavellian. He's completely opportunist. You can find interviews with him where he says, "I think it'd be madness to leave the single market."
Corbyn's a fucking Brexiteer.
But Corbyn's never changed his mind. He just stays silent.
He just doesn't say anything about it. Yeah. Do you know what I think? I fucking love this. This is the only reason I like
He's
Corbyn
shafted Labour.
Right. Do you know the only reason I like Corbyn Prime Minister is I'd love to see, because there's a few
assassinated.
No, there's a few people over here, like people I know that I speak to, like not regularly, but I would speak to, that are full on Corbyn fans. Like,
still,
yeah, and
I probably was for a period. I thought he spoke quite well.
One of the people talk about was even went and got a fucking picture taken with him. Fucking loves him. And what I'd love to see is a Corbyn Prime Minister and a Corbyn elected under the proviso, like part of his manifesto would be a people's vote, and then get elected and go, nah, do you know what? Not happening, is it?
Well, he'd walk away from it.
We're just out. And do the crash out, no deal or anything, because that's what he wants, really, if in his heart of hearts. And I would fucking love to see those people explode.
Yeah,
that would mean more to me than my son's future.
Yeah, that's fair. Yeah,
yeah. I think it would be so fucking funny. But yeah, no, he has shafted Labour. But everyone's shafted. This is the thing.
Yeah, it's so splintered. It's like you were talking about earlier.
Vote with who you least hate.
Yeah, it's like you were saying earlier with old Ikers about how little subsets of groups and everything's so fragmented. Politics is like that.
Yeah.
There's extreme factions within every respective party. There's absolutely huge division. Corbyn is not a unifying figure. Johnson is certainly not a unifying figure. There's Leavers in Labour. There's Remainers. There's Leavers and Conservatives. It feels like a shaken up snow globe of confusion, and I think it's going to take us years for the flakes to dwindle and settle again. I think it'll come back. I do genuinely, because I am ultimately. I'm a glorified.
I think we'll end in civil unrest, like real civil unrest.
If Brexit doesn't go through, it will, because that's supplanting democracy.
I think that's again. I'd have been with you. I'd have voted Remain.
But you honour the ballot box, don't you?
Because do you know what I really hate?
We would have got a better deal if the Remainers had shown a bit of compromise and said, okay, we'll just have a soft Brexit.
Yeah.
And everyone going, all right. And we probably would have still had some form of agreement with the EU, single market and everything else. But now it's gone down. Everyone's in the doubling down politics and world we have now. Everyone's like, well, fuck you. Fuck you too.
Do you not find there's something weird, though, with the if you were to believe the media, right? If there was a ballot tomorrow, there would be no. It would be the stay. If you were to believe the media, yeah.
Depends what media you're reading.
If
you read the Mail and Express, absolutely not.
Take the Mail and Express out and look at what I'm talking about television media.
Okay.
Which I think is massively left leaning, like and
I think people see what they want to see. It's confirmation bias. Maybe. Because I don't know. I watch the BBC sometimes. I'm like, That seems a bit right. Why is Farage and getting
right?
so
The
much
BBC
airtime?
should be though. The BBC is.
The BBC is supposed to be completely objective.
Yeah.
But
I find it more left than right.
Do you?
Yeah.
I there are times I see both, to be honest, and I find it really weird when I see people saying, "Well, I think it's incredibly biased." I'm like, I don't think it is. I genuinely don't. For the record, just for Jim the Pill.
But more left than right. I mean, slightly.
Yeah,
I don't mean a lot.
yeah, that's fair. I mean, for the record, I hate BBC Scotland, but that's a separate issue. But just for Jim the Pill. But I actually do. Yeah, I don't know. Sorry. Yeah. Carry on.
I didn't know you had a BBC Scotland. I thought you ousted that years ago.
Fucking should have.
You
You want to talk about a country that's corrupt? Let's talk about Scotland. Fucking hell. Don't get me started.
Do you think? Are you going to get another independence thing? Do you think?
Only if a left government gets in, and that will be the reverse of Farage. So that will be maybe SNP having a bit of a say, and her big mantra will be to get a second referendum in.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't be for Scottish independence.
Did you see? Is it Nicola Sturgeon?
It is. They're one of the crankies.
Did you see her rubbing what people thought was doing rubbing coke into her gums during Parliament?
What? No.
It's really interesting. You see her sort of dip a hand into a pocket, and go.
That is very unlikely. Really?
Yeah, it's really.
It can't be. She's not a cokehead. She can't be.
Scottish. It was either coke or heroin.
That's fair. She's a cunt. But yeah, she's not,
no, but the thing was, it was during the long parliaments.
Gotta keep going, maybe.
But this is what got me thinking.
You get a bit of filibustering in there. You
Yeah.
could be in there for fucking hours, maybe.
I've been on stag dues before
I'd
with
be
no
doing-
intention of taking drugs, and then at some point I've gone, can somebody get some coke, please? Because it's 7 o'clock in the morning. There appears to be no stopping here.
So polite.
If anybody wants me to see 9, gosh, can't do this on my own.
Did you see Gove? Gove, he doesn't give a fuck anymore. He's just lashed up.
Was he?
Yeah, and then he spoke to Andrew Neil.
Imagine the brandy bottles though in the back.
Oh,
the brandy.
There'll be a lot of coke as well. Obviously, Gove loves a bit of snorty snort, doesn't he? Loves the old China White.
Well, this is the thing. It's at some point, right? It's like the devil confusion who doesn't exist, doesn't it? At some point, our upper classes and monarchy managed to convince the greater population that they don't take drugs, they don't drink loads, they don't fuck kids. But for hundreds of years beforehand, they've, especially the latter, been well into it. I don't understand why all of a sudden we thought that's changed over the last, 30 or 40 years.
Do you think the culture of celebrity has usurped them? So that kind of came organically.
Oh yes.
And that means that we start to think, well, hang on, this is all a bit Orwell.
Yeah.
And we're in the doldrums here. Like, fuck off.
Culturally, The Rock is more important than the President of the United States. Culturally.
Yeah.
Yeah. Absolutely.
He could be president.
Oh, totally. Well, this is one of the things I think. I
it's
think
a culture of personality, isn't it?
Barack Obama ushered this in because he did all the talk shows. So he turned. I know you've had celebrity presidents in the past, but I kind of
Reagan was a movie star.
Exactly, but I don't think it was the.
America's always been well ahead of us with that, actually. Hasn't it?
But
I'm surprised we've never gone down that.
But I don't think it was the same because of the social media and the the spread of information. You know,
Piers Morgan will be prime minister one day.
I tell you what, I would take Piers Morgan prime minister now.
A lot of people would.
I would if I had a vote for it, and there was the Boris Johnson, fucking Corbyn, and Piers Morgan.
I tell you right now, it would be a landslide.
Well, at least I'm not my own as a cunt. But
I have conflicted.
I've had a real good think about this. I like Piers Morgan.
Yeah.
And I've come he gets.
You are not the first person to reappraise and say that to me recently. But you are about fourth or fifth.
But there's a bigger reason for this, and it's not just the fact of me going a bit right with things. I think we can both agree that the hacking of the dead girl's phone is horrible. Yeah.
Yeah. No, great. Yeah.
I know I didn't really need an answer, but here we are. But I do think that in most things in life, I really do mean most, that there has to be a point where there's at least a road to retribution for something.
Hell yes.
And I don't think what he did, which is one of the big things he gets the fucking heat for, is bad enough to get heat for the rest of his life. He didn't kill that child.
No.
And that's going to be an unpopular opinion.
No, it's not. It's not the same.
So do you know what I mean?
Everything has a scale. He did a pretty, has he ever shown any contrition or apology? Because I watched the Shapiro thing, and he kind of still in denial about it, wasn't he?
Do you know what? Do you know why I think he would be in denial for it? And
legalities.
No, I think he did exactly what anyone else in his position would have done. I think that
because he's going to lose his job if he concedes anything.
Exactly. No, but apart from that, if you're in charge of a newspaper, especially like you think, but then as well, when even shit newspapers had a bit more credibility than they do now. If you have
it speaks to the kind of person he is, though, that the pursuit of his career means more than that. Because I would think, well, hang on, if this is part of my job, I'm not going to fucking do it. You'd think he had a bit more of a moral compass. But I agree with you.
I don't think I agree with you.
No?
I think if...
You'd do it, do you think?
I think so.
Do you?
Yeah.
No, I wouldn't do it. I wouldn't. I'm not a perfect person. I'm deeply flawed. But, I wouldn't hack a dead girl's phone.
But, see, that's the other thing, is that we've got to think hacking as well. What does the word hack mean? That's been a word that's thrown around a lot. You can't. I don't believe there's been hacking there. I think there's been access there. He's been able to get access.
I wouldn't be able to sleep at night knowing I've done that. To be honest, it wouldn't rest. It just wouldn't sit right with me. I don't think.
I think
I'm not saying
in the trenches of the moment, with a newsroom around you,
the pressures of that,
let's get
your
this out,
ego,
let's do this.
Yeah. No, you have to add context to everything, and I take your point, and it's easy for me to say. I don't know for certain. I'd like to think I would think no, but I don't know. Maybe he'd done a fucking massive line of coke and thought it'd be alright.
Do you know what made me think this? It made me think of because I still think the tweet was hilarious, but what Scottish comedian
Frankie Boyle,
something was said about, I can't remember what Morgan's first tweet was, but Boyle's response was, that was it. It was about him. It was about his joke about the
Queen and her haunted.
Queen,
yeah. He got kicked off BBC.
Yeah.
The Queen's so old, her vagina's haunted or something, or her pussy's haunted.
So Piers Morgan had a pop at that, and then
he's a proper royalist, though, isn't he?
Yeah, and then this thing. This is one of the things I do hate about Piers Morgan. But like I said, don't leave me the royalist. Give me someone left to stand up for. But he replied to him by saying, I suppose it just depends on what your morals are. I said a joke about somebody, you hacked a dead girl's phone, essentially was what he did. He said it in a funny way because he's a fucking comedian. I'm not.
He's a genius, yeah.
But there was a little bit of me thought that this was kind of the precursor to what we're going to get. You know, it's you can't, if someone else is going to get fucking ripped apart for something. And
yeah, but he's not showing. The difference is he's not showing contrition. So if he came out and said, "Listen, I was bad and I've grown as a person and I'm different," but actually he spends his career chastising others and living a clickbait existence. So I don't have any respect for that.
Right. Okay, but what else is media then? What's showing like live footage of bombings? Because whenever one of those fireworks goes off, people are getting blown apart.
Yes, but he's framing. Yeah, but there's an objective telling of facts that are taking place in real time. He is.
Your hacking the phone was to tell a story of what was happening.
Oh yeah, that's a stretch, that mate.
It is a stretch.
That's a stretch.
It is a stretch, but I'm just saying that this shouldn't be. I don't believe that what he did. Is he a particularly nice person? Do you know, he's probably not a particularly nice person.
I don't know. Like when
I don't think he's a particularly horrible person.
No, like I think when the persona is down, I don't think he's a bad guy. I don't think he's a bad guy. I'm having there's a separate issue.
I think he must have a really good sense of humour because of the role he plays, especially on Good Morning Britain. Because him and I forgot her name,
Susanna Reid.
Yeah, they both play like it's almost WWE what they do. And but you know what the funny thing is?
She's faux.
Yeah.
Outraged. She's on board.
I don't believe she thinks what she says.
No, she's on board with him.
Yeah.
No, she's on board.
But
I don't think he believes what he says either. I think he knows.
I think
he rubs
his grain to it. I think the woke stuff, which is why
it does. You can tell he's passionate about that. But I a lot of the time when he says that stuff, I'm with him.
This is the thing.
Yeah. I am with him with a lot of that stuff. But there are times I can tell he's rubbing his hands, going, some ratings here. This would be great.
Yeah.
So from what he does is very different to proper genuine journalism, in my opinion.
Well, this is the thing.
But he represents journalism now.
This is what I think is really funny. I think this is what, again, having a sort of a lifelong passion for pro wrestling has never ever been more useful than right now. And it's
I'm intrigued where to see this.
He did the poll, didn't he? Like, should Piers Morgan leave or should be fired or something like that?
Yeah.
Did you see the cunt that was on that wanted to be fired?
Which one?
There was a gay man was on who was standing up for trans rights, and they had what's her name? Trans woman, media woman, blonde. She's probably Britain's most famous trans person.
Yes, Paris Lees.
Yes.
Yeah.
She was on saying.
I quite like her.
Yeah, I quite like her as well. She was standing up for Pierce's side of it, as saying like it's up to his way of talking about things. You shouldn't call for people to be sacked just for what their views are on things. Because it was the multiple gender thing, that was it.
Right.
And she said like it belittles what I
her position. Yeah, absolutely.
Like, I don't want to be a trans woman. I wanted to be a woman.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And when you read her story, it's really genuinely.
But that I get.
Yeah, totally.
See that's where I am sort of on board with that sort of thing.
Yeah, you're not being full Morgan on it. You're actually being pretty rational.
The boxing coach, fucking hell, how difficult must have that have been?
Yeah.
Jesus Christ. He went through all that and all the ridicule he must have got for the people that he was surrounded by when you're surrounded by all that fucking masculinity through your whole life.
And he did it when he was like 60.
And you come out looking like the cunt from the fucking labyrinth. It's not fair.
What was his name? Frank someone. Frank.
I thought you'd been the labyrinth character.
No. David Bowie. Yeah.
He'd have been genuinely neutral if he's still alive. He'd have identified as gender neutral.
Here's a point. Right.
Oh, it's gonna be juicy when he's got to think.
No.
When he's got to think. Fuck, what am I gonna say?
No.
It's gonna be juicy.
It's fucking camera. It's a lot of pressure, guys. Okay, so people like Mark Bolan, David Bowie, even Jim Morrison to a degree, these androgynous rock stars.
He was just a mad shagger.
Yeah. But they had universal appeal. That was the genius. They appealed to both men and women, boys and girls. They didn't comment or say anything. Bowie was shagging men. Bowie and Jagger were found by Jagger's wife Angie together in bed, supposedly. And they were very experimental, and sexuality to them was fluid. They didn't bang on about it. It's not about, for them, I think it was a case of, yes, it was experimentation, and yes, it was a fuck ton of drugs, but also now we live in such a narcissistic society where everybody has to share an Instagram picture of every single fucking bowel movement or meal they make, where it's like, oh, look at me, and Sam Smith is a primary example of this.
Cunt.
Yeah, I think the most attention-seeking, and it's the complete antithesis for this, and it backs up Paris Lee's point. It undermines the legitimate cause for people who are having those genuine struggles with their own identity as a human, and he's just doing it purely for publicity. His quotes are just so riddled with self-absorption and bubble-encased arrogance. It's incredibly frustrating. But people like Bowie, and I say, and Bolan, and there were probably a raft of others, even like Patti Smith, you know, for them, they didn't need to comment on it. It was like, this is who I am, and this is like, okay, there's pre-social media, but it's just look at me and take me as I am. And everyone was like, okay, that's fucking cool. That's amazing. But he's like, oh, I need everyone to call me this. If you can call me this, that would be great. And it's like, you're setting the parameters.
Yeah.
Rather than just being a beacon.
This is what upset Jordan Peterson, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Jordan
the pronoun
Peterson's
thing, that's how he came to be in the
he
public
doesn't
consciousness.
mind. He wouldn't not agree to speak to somebody as like a man or a woman if that's what they identified with, but it was the using of the made up words.
And also just
protection of language is what he was doing.
Well, yeah, I have complete sympathy for that. Also, just from a grammatical perspective, as a you know a supposed writer, they and them to revert. You know, I'm not talking about a fucking a colony of peoples.
Exactly.
It's
yeah,
one
it's
person.
Yeah.
Like,
I don't get it.
Oh, they. How are you doing? They would like a beer. Like,
yeah.
No, Sam wants a beer. Like, if you didn't say anything about it, it wouldn't be a thing.
Yeah,
it's not a thing.
It's like you're speaking. It's like you're speaking to someone in the third person. Like,
yeah.
If we were with somebody else and they went to the toilet, I would say, have they gone to the toilet?
Exactly.
Or we're with them. It's so weird.
It's just like, no, man, you don't get to dictate grammar to me, motherfucker.
Do you think it gives an...
It's about attention, that.
No,
certainly for his.
But
anyway.
for young people, do you think it's given an almost easy out to homosexuality? It's a difficult question because I'm not homosexual. I've never gone through anything like that. But
there doesn't need to be now. There's a lot more tolerance of that.
No, exactly. But there is,
as there should be.
But is it the same for your family? Would it be easier for you to? And I don't know this.
I don't think so.
This question.
I don't think so.
No, but to turn.
If my kid said I'm gay, I'd be like, all right. But if he said I identify as a
but to ingest it in your own self, right, and go,
what is the justification for you?
I am a man, and against all the laws of nature of where animals, not like people, but animals are here to do, is to continue their species. Against all human nature, I want to be with the same sex I am. Is it not easier for you to internalize, well, nature's fucked up, and instead of me wanting to be with the species or the sex I should be with, I'm the wrong sex in the wrong body, and I want to be with the wrong thing? Because in most cases, you're gonna get, like, you look at the amount of fucking crazy stuff we go on where you get like 2 trans women that go together, or so you gotta think there'd probably be lesbians without that.
Yeah, I don't know, man. Yeah, maybe
there's a massive thing where most boys, at least, that think they're trans, if left to their own devices, become gay men. Yeah, there's a massive statistic for that. I just think that there's. Do you know sometimes when you go on Netflix, right? Sometimes there's too many options.
Oh, I.
Sometimes you just want to say, someone to say, would you like to watch Star Wars or it?
Absolutely.
And
Netflix is a nightmare.
I think that's what we might be doing with culture. It's just given, because of how comfortable we are in the West, given too many options.
Maybe. Yeah, I wouldn't necessarily disagree with that.
But again, to be perfectly honest, though, it's not that I have a problem with. It's the it's the pushing of those beliefs on other people. That's why I have a problem with.
Yes.
But I think that's the other thing with the trans side of it is there is like, children seem to be really targeted by this stuff at the minute, and the ideas of one of the things I've got probably just a bigger problem with is when you see drag queens going to schools and stuff like that. Because I think I have no problem with homosexuality, but that sexualized. Anyone that tells me that drag isn't a sexualized thing, they can fuck off.
Also, why are they going into schools?
Exactly, and do you know why?
Just why? Like
it's a confirmation bias type thing.
You wouldn't just get me like like Dave, your normal bloke, going in going, all right, kids.
It's indoctrination. It's what it is because I'm like this, and again, I'm not saying there's anything wrong with that, but people are because.
But what's the end goal? Just to have
more
a
people,
nation of drag.
to have more people. That's the thing. That's what all of us do. It's when we colonize countries. It's to make more of us.
Yeah.
You know, it's what the British Empire did, wasn't it? We set sail to make more British people, essentially.
Yes, but for money and power and control. But drag queens, what are they going to do?
That's it. Then that's exactly for money, power, control, and acceptance.
Drag queen empire. Are they going into schools?
Yes.
British schools?
It's a frightening. No, it's American schools. Okay. But there's a frightening amount of videos of like them going into schools and doing like book readings and stuff like that, and it's
live and let live. But it is live and live. But I just personally don't see the reason for it.
Exactly, but I do, and I feel a bit bad about this. But I think I'd be angry if I found out that there was like a book reading where some woman some man came in dressed as like a drag queen with like stockings and suspenders and all fake boobs pumped up and stuff like that. I would be angry. No,
it's the sexualization of it.
But that's the thing. I would be angry if a woman did that.
Yeah, it's not.
If a woman dressed like that in front of my child, I'd be angry.
Yeah, it's just a case of, well, why are you dressed in a sexualized? Yeah. It's just absolutely needless. I wouldn't be happy myself, to be honest. Weird.
It is odd.
I hope it doesn't happen here. I'm bad enough with the fucking religion over here, so.
I think you need to stop worrying about religion, mate. Religion's destroyed. I think in years to come we'll probably be like nostalgic for the idea of religion.
Yeah, I certainly won't. I fucking hate it. But
I think we'll be nostalgic for the values it brought.
No, God no.
Well,
no. This whole Christian values thing is absolute bullshit.
It's not bullshit. I'm
not having it. I completely disagree.
Do you not think Western civilization is born on the Ten Commandments?
I'm not letting a book dictate what's right and wrong.
But we have done.
Have we?
Yeah.
I don't agree. No, I don't think so. No, I think inherently good humans know a difference between right and wrong. I don't think we need a book to dictate that.
Maybe.
I think most of the
we wouldn't
go to Northern Ireland and tell me that religion works. Do you know what I mean?
Oh, so, no. Hey, people are the problem with religion. What I mean is the Ten Commandments is what we kind of base just society on. The reason you're squishing your face up is because I'm kind of right.
No.
And you don't want to say it.
No, I disagree. Like, I don't believe religion has any tangible link to us knowing the difference between right and wrong. I don't believe it has any impact.
Do you know at all? Do we not know that because we weren't around before the time of it? Or before the time of Christianity?
Maybe you were speculating. But I think, if you look at religion, ultimately it's done a lot more harm than good.
It does, but if you look at like
this is a far right thing, the Christian value stuff.
You look at Sumer, for instance, ancient Sumeria, where they were fucking crushing children or like newborn babies under a rock.
Slavery's okay in Christian times. Slavery's okay in the Bible. So
and we're iron things out. Look, I'm not religious, mate.
No, I still agree.
I do think that Western views have been heavily influenced by Christian society.
Yeah, there's no denial. There's no denying. Sorry, that we are carrying the baggage of history, and the baggage of history suggests that Christian values dictated that, but we evolved and we shrugged it off and we realised let's be secular because it's contradictory and dangerous.
Mm-hmm.
So we're better than that. So I will not. I have a much bigger fear of my son becoming religious than becoming trans. much bigger.
I'd be much bigger for him joining the army than any of them.
Yeah, the army actually is second by religion. Yeah. Yeah.
But
Genuinely, the army is second for me. Yeah.
No, that's
I would be
Scientology before Christianity.
The special will follow eventually.
But no, army's the big one for me. Like
man.
I don't know how to feel about it because of I respect what people do when they go in the army. I respect what I respect the service. But
it's indoctrination though.
Exactly, and
it's no different to religion.
I would hate my son to be in the position where
he's
destroyed to be built up back in somebody's image.
That's it. That's you've nailed it beautifully there. Yeah, that's exactly what it is. And for what? For an election campaign, for sloganeering, for somebody who ultimately you're
some point just for a distraction piece. Because we just need a good news story in the press. So
yeah, man, that's right. To be honest, it's probably joint top with religion. Now I think about the worries, but there are an endless stream of worries as a parent.
There's different religions.
Yeah,
Buddhism, alright. I'm sure you'd be alright with Buddhism.
Fine.
Yeah.
Just listen to a bit of Madonna, do a bit of yoga. Hindu would be alright. Bit of Dalsim.
Hindu would be good.
Dalsim from Street Fighter.
Basically just yoga, isn't it? You just do yoga all the time for the rest of your life.
A lot of yoga. And that's pretty much all I know about Hinduism. Sikhism, don't know much about it, to be honest.
What's Russell Brand?
Buddhist.
Is he a Buddhist, is he? There is a risk of saying Russell Brand.
I like Russell Brand.
But I liked him when he actually did something. I don't know what he does anymore.
He does that Trues, doesn't he?
No, he stopped doing that fucking ages ago.
Did he?
The last episode of the Trues was the one he did with fucking
Pearson.
No, because wasn't Peterson on his podcast?
No, Peterson. There's certainly YouTube of the pair of them interviewing each other. It's really good.
Oh, was it? Oh, I have to look at that.
Yeah, no, it's good. Do you know what it is, mate? It's we were talking earlier about how people with opposing ideologies can't have a reasoned, grown-up debate. It's the antithesis to that. They're having a really good conversation, disagreeing. It's lovely. It's really intellectually stimulating, and also it makes you remember when we could just have a conversation and disagree?
Did you see some of the fucking social media thing about Peterson just did a
he's in trouble at the moment, isn't he? He's in rehab, isn't he? His wife's got terminal cancer.
Yeah. Apparently he's been taking Adderall or something like that. But he cried in an interview, and the dog pile that went on this, like, look at this weak man, and the
irony is the people professing that are supposed to be mental health champions and everything else. That's not cool. I don't like that.
It was terrible. It was a fucking awful. I quite like Jordan Peterson.
Yeah,
but I think
I've said to you I quite like him.
I think he's a genius. As in a genuine genius, and that doesn't mean I think he's right all the time. But I think you can see he's a genius because of how fucking flawed his character is.
He is deeply flawed.
He's the
classic
guy's got demons.
Yeah, he's a classic case of do as I say, not as I do, isn't he? He's a really it adds a layer of humanity to him being flawed.
Yeah,
but it's a shame.
I genuinely believe that just the term "clean your room" is a genius statement for what he's talking about. Because it's ingestible by anyone, and it's so easily dismissed. Like, what a load of rubbish. And then when you actually think about it, the layers of what he's trying to say, it's so obvious. It's just like, if you can tidy your room, and then sort
it's a building block, isn't
it? Yeah. Do something.
No,
do something right today.
It's clever.
Yeah,
it's clever. No, I root for him. He's what I've always said about him. I don't always agree with him, but he is a calm voice to listen to amidst the wild furore everywhere else.
I think for someone that speaks so sort of authoritatively about what they're saying, to do it in such a weak manner is quite odd as well. It's quite different.
He's quite a meek man, isn't he?
Very fragile, very fragile person. I listen to his podcasts when it's good. I think this year the best podcast that's been made was
him and Milo.
It was
really
good. It was
good.
fucking tremendous.
It was really good.
Milo's having some issues at the minute, I believe. Like,
isn't he?
Financial issues.
Yeah, no. Drug addiction as well. I read as well.
Yeah, well, I think you could always see. Always see that.
It's a gravitation towards that, isn't it? You know, someone like that.
It's
a shame, man. Like we
I think it's a shame with Milo. I think there's more to give from him, and I do wonder whether a breakdown might do him a load of good. You know, sometimes you see someone that comes back from a breakdown, they come back so much stronger.
Yeah, he needs that clarity of thought.
Yeah.
Also, you know, if I was his publicist, I'm saying maybe have a little breakdown. We can get you on network telly.
Absolutely.
Get you with Gary Busey. You know,
I think there's something. He's the same. Like when you talk about cult of personality, like even like.
No, he is. He is.
I know myself that there's something so charismatic about his
the pair of them actually.
Yeah, but I'm more so him with just with the flamboyantness of it as well.
Yeah, he's so the things he's saying is so at odds with who we have pigeonholed that kind of person to be.
Yeah.
So that's what makes it a really interesting dichotomy.
Well, he's on the wrong team.
Yes,
that's That's why Jordan Peterson referred to him as a trickster, didn't he?
Yeah. That was a really good. That was a really good turn of phrase. I like that. And there's a lot of Milo I don't like at all.
Oh no, I absolutely agree with you.
There's a lot, but he is.
I think he
endlessly fascinating.
His own water, especially when it comes to the like Muslim stuff.
Yeah,
even
the gay stuff is weird. Like he seems to hate being gay, doesn't he? Which is weird.
No, you see, do you know what? I got what he was saying with that because what he said was that if he could take a pill to be straight, take it. And the gay community,
life would be easier, wouldn't it?
Exactly. Well, that's what he was trying to say. He was essentially standing up for the gay community.
No, I wasn't. I didn't mean that to sound chastising. It was just. It was more like a holy shit. He's saying that kind of thing. It's like gun to head. Our youngest boy Buddy, if we could give him a pill and him not have autism, we would. And that is
Arthur's ginger, I understand.
Hey?
Arthur's ginger, I understand.
Exactly the same. Oh, the ginger pain. I feel it. And that is, a lot of people can't really understand that. Like, it's a contradictory thing because I wouldn't change him, but at the same time, I would change that part of him because life is going to be just harder for him. And it's, I would do that. So I can empathise with what Milo's saying. That life is a lot fucking harder.
Yeah.
In that position,
definitely.
You're ostracised, and especially with his views, like he's on his own fucking team.
Yeah, absolutely on his own team.
And that takes fortitude. You know, it takes a hell of a lot.
It takes conviction, definitely.
And self-belief, and you know, he's probably gone through the mire, but he's not someone who wallows. So I respect that. Yeah.
Is that a good place to end tonight?
Yeah, I think it probably is.
Yeah.
Oh,
thanks for coming here again.
Thanks, mate. We're not bad. That's like, we've had 2 in a month. Is that?
No.
5 weeks.
This is essentially a month.
A month, yeah. So so we've had 1 month since the last one. So that's all right. That's more
so
prolific. We were like 2-3 months previously. So if we can do one every 4 or 5 weeks, that's all right.
I think so.
Give the people what they want.
Yeah.
Yeah.
People want every 2 weeks. That's what people
do
want.
They?
Yeah. People
it's hard. It's hard for me. I'm busy.
I know.
I'll try. I'll try, people.
I'm not putting pressure. I'm just telling you what people want.
If that's what the people want, we'll sign up to the Patreon and then we'll get talking.
Yes.
No, I'll do my utmost. But no, always a pleasure, mate. Thank you very much for having me.
Cheers, guys. Bye-bye.
Bye.